Welcome to session 5 about Sauvignon Blanc. Today we will look at Sauvignon Blanc in the most recognized appellations and districts around the world. As Plato once said, nothing more excellent or valuable than wine was ever granted by the gods to man. That saying certainly fits the great Sauvignon Blanc wines of today. The learning outcomes of this session include the Sauvignon Blanc characteristics and how the grape characteristics alters in different regions and climates around the world. We will be exploring the Loire Valley in detail, the Loire Valley, which is the original home of Sauvignon Blanc. Lastly, we will be moving on to key Sauvignon Blanc wine districts of the world. We will learn to answer questions such as, are New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc wines typically oaked? And what are the most respected districts for growing Sauvignon Blanc in California? Looking at the great characteristics of Sauvignon Blanc, it is important to remember the climate in which the grape is being grown. In cold to moderate climate, the grape has high acidity and green fruit flavors. Typical aromas include apple and citrus with a herbal note. On sunny sites with good aspect, you will find gooseberry flavors and a flinty mineralic character which the Loire Valley is so famous for. In moderate climates, the grape shows melon and white peach character. Where the Old World flavors are more herbal, the New World characters are very fruity, the most famous of which is New Zealand, where Sauvignon Blanc typically displays overt passion fruit and gooseberry flavors. Because Sauvignon Blanc has a strong varietal character, it is typically unoaked. However, oak is sometimes used to dampen the high acidity found in the cooler climate wines. The Loire Valley, or Val de Loire, is a PGI region covering the entire Loire Valley and which have quite loose regulations regarding vinification. In the Loire Valley there are, however, a great deal of AOCs or PDOs, and it is from these that the famous Sauvignon Blanc of the Loire Valley comes from. The two most important PDOs or AOCs in terms of quality are Sancerre and Pouilly-Fumé. Vouvray is also known for making great wines, and Touraine is more famous for decent quality wine at reasonable prices. The climate is cool, and these four AOCs all have continental climate. In Sancerre and Pouilly-Fumé, Sauvignon Blanc is the only white grape grown, whereas Vouvray and Touraine grows a considerable amount of Chenin Blanc. All the whites of the Loire Valley have high acidity due to the cold climate and shows herbal and mineralic flavors along with green fruit and citrus character. Because of the cold climate, grapes often struggle to ripen. This results in lesser quality wines in poorer vintages. The Loire Valley is located in northwest France, at the very edge of where viticulture is possible. The area is often plagued by bad weather in the growing season, which leads to underripe grapes. Improved vineyard management in recent years have improved this, but there is still significant vintage variation in quality. In poorer years, this can significantly lower the quality of the wine. Pouilly-Fumé and Sancerre are located far to the east. In fact, they are located very close to the famous AOC of Chablis. Vouvray is located in the top west part of Touraine, which is shown as the large yellow section in the middle of the map. Touraine produces a vast amount of Sauvignon Blanc and Chenin Blanc wines. These wines are mostly entrance level wines at medium to low price points. Pouilly-Fumé Because of the climate, the wines of the Loire Valley are all crisp and fresh with good acidity. Pouilly-Fumé wines, in particular, are famous for a slightly smoky gunflint aroma, which the town is named after, fumé meaning smoked. Along with the smoke, aromas of citrus, apple, and flint are normally present. The wines are not complex, but have a very intense flavour, which makes for outstanding wines. Good Pouilly-Fumé are among the most expensive Sauvignon Blanc wines and can sell for super premium prices. The best wines can age up to 6 years in bottle, but are generally best enjoyed young. Sancerre. Sancerre is located across the river from Pouilly-Fumé, and like Pouilly-Fumé, Sancerre has crisp and forward flavours. Instead of being famous for smoky aromas, Sancerre is famous for typical Sauvignon Blanc aromas. These are herbal flavours such as fresh cut grass and apple, citrus and gooseberry flavours with mineralic stone character. But on sunnier vineyards with better aspect, these wines can develop passion fruit flavour as well. Sancerre is meant to be enjoyed young and are generally expensive wines. One reason for that is that their popularity is so high that they can't produce enough wine to keep up with demand. Touraine. Touraine is a much larger AOC than Sancerre AOC and Pouilly-Fumé AOC. The vineyards are mainly located on plain lands without the aspect which makes the former AOCs so spectacular. Although Touraine produce similar wines in terms of crispness and apple with citrus flavour, the flavours are less ripe and even less complex. It is a good entry-level Sauvignon Blanc for people who like the Loire Valley style but can't afford the more expensive wines. Besides from the birthplace of Sauvignon Blanc, the Loire Valley, there are plenty other places in the world which produce great Sauvignon Blanc wines. Bordeaux in southwest France lay host to the exceptional AOC of Pessac-Léognan and Grave. In Australia there is Margaret River, which produces wines similar to those in Bordeaux due to similar climates. New Zealand has Marlborough and Hawke's Bay. Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc is one of the world's most famous and popular wines and are overtly fruity compared to the more herbal wines of the Loire Valley. California, and in particular the valleys located in Sonoma and Napa County, produce great Sauvignon Blanc. Here, unlike the previous location, there is no particular style which producers adhere to. Chile also has some great Sauvignon Blanc wines, but in general it is known for inexpensive bulk wines, as is Languedoc and Roussillon. Pessac-Léognan. In the southern part of Bordeaux we find the AOCs of Pessac-Léognan and Grave. Along with great red Bordeaux wines, they are famous for some of the most delicious Sauvignon Blanc wines in the world. With a moderate maritime climate, the wines produced here have a different character to those in the cold Loire Valley. Here Sauvignon Blanc is always blended with Semillon. Together, these wines are sold at premium to super premium prices and show typical fruit flavors of moderate climate wines. Flavors such as white melon, nectarine, and white peach are common, along with the flavors the French oak impart on the wine. These wines have great aging potential, with the best being able to age for up to 15 years. These wines can be very complex and develop lovely nutty and honey flavors with age, whilst retaining the fresh fruit character. Margaret River. Margaret River is located on the southwest tip of Australia. The climate in Margaret River is very similar to that in Bordeaux. just slightly warmer. For that reason, the same grapes are used in winemaking, and the results are similar to that of its legendary older brother in Bordeaux. The most used white wine grapes in Margaret River are Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, and Chardonnay. The Sauvignon Blanc wines of Margaret River tend to have slightly more tropical fruit flavors and have less aging potential compared to white wines from Bordeaux. But the quality of the best wines are simply outstanding. While Margaret River produces a very small percentage of Australia's wines, it is responsible for some of the best and sells at premium price points. Moving on to New Zealand. New Zealand is responsible for producing some of the most popular wines of the world, one of which is Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, the most famous of which is Cloudy Bay. Marlborough is located in a moderate maritime climate and can be found on the northern part of the southern island. The style of Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc is overtly fruity with flavors of gooseberry and passion fruit. Although not complex, the flavor's intensity is immense, and therefore the best wines are outstanding. Simply a pleasure to drink. The nature of these wines means that they are not suitable for oak maturation and should be enjoyed young before the fruit flavors disappear. California. The best Sauvignon Blanc of California comes from Sonoma and in particular Napa County. These are situated just north of San Francisco and enjoys a cooling effect from both the ocean and winds. There are several macroclimates within the two counties which are suitable for different varietals. The styles here vary widely from crisp fruity wines to heavily oaked wines. Some would say that Californian Sauvignon Blanc does not have an identity, making it hard for consumers to choose Californian Sauvignon Blanc over more well-defined styles. To the east of Sonoma and Napa County, we have the Central Valley region. This region of California is where 80% of Californian wine is produced. Most of it is bulk wine, and the Sauvignon Blanc from the Central Valley is not interesting. As you can see on the map, it stretches from Los Angeles to around 400 miles north. Chile and Languedoc. Chile and Languedoc are both known for producing large quantities of inexpensive wines. Both areas offer very good value for money, but are completely different in terms of potential. Chile has one of the best locations in the world with great potential to make all sorts of wine. Languedoc in the south of France has a much more defined climate, warm Mediterranean, which is unsuitable for Sauvignon Blanc. Whilst making outstanding wines in Chile, they are yet to deliver on their potential for Sauvignon Blanc. The best area is Casablanca, but the wines here are generally low to medium priced bulk wines with citrus flavors. Sauvignon Blanc food pairing. Generally speaking, Sauvignon Blanc retains a high level of acidity and for that reason goes great with acidic food such as seafood and salads. Loire Valley Sauvignons are fantastic pairings with goat cheese, but other Sauvignons can also be used. Lightly prepared white meats such as poached or sautéed chicken works well too. Dishes that are herbal goes especially well with the Loire Valley Sauvignon Blancs. New Zealand Sauvignon is unbeatable in light fruity dishes containing melon, such as a charcuterie plate with cured meats, melon, and goat cheese. Important to remember is that Sauvignon is a light style of wine and as such does not go with heavy flavored dishes. To summarize, wines made from Sauvignon Blanc are light, dry, and acidic. The Loire Valley style has the highest acidity of all and pairs great with herbal food, and because the wines are highly mineralic, they also go great with raw seafood such as oyster. Pessac-Léognan and Margaret River wines have medium acidity with flavors of white melon, peach, and nectarine. These are typically oaked and have great complexity. Marlborough Sauvignon is very aromatic and fruit-forward, typically showing gooseberry and passion fruit aromas. It can be hard to find a better wine to drink on a warm summer day. In general, Sauvignon pairs great with lighter dishes such as seafood, salads, and goes particularly well with goat cheese. When pairing Sauvignon, try to identify the dish flavors and style, which will make it easier to decide which Sauvignon Blanc will be best paired. Finally, I think we can answer the questions posed from the beginning of the session. Are New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs typically oaked? The answer to that question is no. The second question was, what are the best Californian areas for Sauvignon Blanc? The answer to that question is Sonoma and particularly Napa County. Thank you very much for watching Session 4 and good luck with your questionnaire.